at the weekend. The first part I'm buggering about with something to do with the Aprilia, and the second part I'm just going to show you what I've been doing to some fairings. I've took all the fairings off the ZZR, obviously, to do some work and investigate a no-start issue, which turned out, well, fingers crossed it turned out, is a dead coil. So I replaced the coil with a spare I had lying around of the correct homage, technical, and she fired straight up. So whoopie-doo, as they say. So I've got to get some fuel for it. So with any luck, when I dash some fuel into it, it'll be running off its own supply, because I started up and warmed it up on the reserve bottle thingy, hangy uppy I've got, and so with any luck, it'll run on its own supply, because I had to renew, as some of you know, the reserve fuel pipe, because a previous owner had put a normal bit of fuel hose there, and it doesn't really work. It got kinked, so it restricted the flow. I'm just looking at you can probably just see it there, a nice little stock car. Yes. So it was restricting the flow. It was literally just a piddle, and I bought the correct pipe from Kawasaki for about 11 quid, and it's got like a triple kink in it. There's no way you'd be able to repeat it with just a normal bit of straight. So I've done that. I even took the petcock off, cleaned all the petcock out, took the filters out, the tank, and cleaned those out, and everything's all good with that. And what else did I do? Oh yes, I fitted a new, I think I showed it in one of the videos tonight, I fitted a new fuel line to the Aprilia as well, with a filter in it, and I took that out for a little buzz in the week with Bruce Willis, and that's running okay, so that's good. And then my indicator packed up, my left hand indicator on the Aprilia packed up. It sounded like a stuck solenoid, because it was going alright turning right, and you could hear the relay going click, 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 as they do. But when you put it on there, nice, swallow that lung oyster. When you put it on the left, it just went. I'm not doing that again. And it suggested to me the solenoid was stuck. Put it this way, if it was on a Japanese bike, that would suggest the solenoid was stuck. So anyway, I thought, oh okay, the solenoid's stuck. Because the indicators would flash occasionally. So anyway, I got another relay. I got a buzzer one actually off Amazon, so it makes a noise when you put the indicators on. Always useful, because if I do end up having a handlebar mount to hold my phone or anything, it will obstruct the idiot lights. So I put that in, and it was like beep 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 on the right and beep on the left. So I thought, hello then, it's not solenoid. So then I decided to investigate the wiring on the left-hand signals, and it turns out the rear signal, whose wiring is tucked under the mudguard, so it's in the way of all the shit spray and all this lot. It's not a very good design, to be honest. It was sort of, the connectors were butted together, but they weren't making a very good connection. So all I did is literally just crimp them together, and everything's working again now. So I didn't have to buy that solenoid, but I've stuck it on anyway. And what else have I been up to? Oh, nothing much. Went up to Scotland for 4 days. Tesla. Yeah! Anyway, that's over with. Yes, went up to Scotland for a few days, stopped in a beautiful lodge, hot tub, all that lot. It was fantastic. Really, really good. Did I mention this in another video? I don't think I did actually, so in case I didn't, I'm going to show you the view we had from the lodge. There you go. And believe it or not, we were only about 1.5 miles from Oban. In fact, if you looked on that picture, the hill on the right, literally Oban town is behind that hill, and you wouldn't know, you wouldn't even know you were anywhere near Oban. It was absolutely beautiful. So that's what I've been up to. So yes, so I'll crack on and show you a little bit of filming I did with fairings. Yes, jolly good. Bye bye. Saturday. Yes, use your words, Jim. Beverage. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the last video. Forks are in, and what I forgot to mention on the end of the last video is when you put the forks in, just whip it off the stands and give them a pumping, get all the oil circulated. Anyway, yesterday I also took the carbotinkles off the Aprilia because I had a leak, and it was pissing out of the float over the float bowl, basically, the little overflow. Inside the float bowl there's a brass overflow tube where if the needle valve fails or anything like that, it will spill over into the brass tube and come out the overflow, regardless of where the drain screws are. So I took both needles and seats out, and because both carburetors are linked with a T-piece, if one needle gets blocked or obstructed or anything like that, the fuel will try and flow to the other carburetor as well. They sort of act as a pair. But interestingly, when I took the first valve seat out, I'm going to show you it. These have only been out the bike about 18 hours, but look at that. I don't know whether it's for focusing the white residue. There was nothing on these when I took them out, so that's residue just from the fuel drying. And as far as I'm aware, the last time I put fuel in the Aprilia, which was before we went on the breakfast run before, it was super unleaded. I may have had a bit of normal unleaded ethanol mixed in, but that's the other one. That's not so bad. But I had new ones, so I decided to put them in. But interestingly, when I removed one of the seats, I found this blocking the needle. For clarity's sake, that is about 2 to 3 mil long, and it's a little bit of gasket, so I changed the gaskets as well. But the old gaskets don't actually appear to be that damaged, they're just old, as I'll show you. So yeah, don't know what's going on there, but anyway, it's got new seats, so now we're going to go and test the seats. I need to fit a fuel filter, which I've actually already done Blue Peter style, and then refit the carbs. So I will now take you to the other bench and show you the carburetors. Oh, the sun is in my eyes. What is that thing in the sky? It's a beautiful morning. Birds are singing and all that lot. Anyway, this is basically how you remove the carburetors. What you do, basically take the bodywork off, you take the exhaust silencers off, and then you undo the top of the subframe, and then the subframe will pull down. A couple of the wire plugs, one of the wire plugs needs undoing. This is the choke. I put that back in when I refit the carbs, because it's quite difficult to get a spanner on it. but you can leave the cowling in place and just undo the side bolts and this top bolt here, and the tank will slip in and out lovely. This is your fuel sender connector, so that just hangs around there. We'll put that down there. That's your starter solenoid. But yeah, so the carbs go in there, and then to get these rear boots on, you basically gently lift the rear subframe. Put a little bit of grease or something, rubber grease in there. But while it's like this, you can adjust suspension and stuff like that. So anyway, to the carburetors. Should have been a bat sign. Anyway, so the carburetors, all I've done is replace the needles and seats, basically. Let's have some light. I've got a little fuel rig up here, but one way to test if the needles are working is that when the carburetors are in their normal position, you should be able to just blow through it, and you will, because the floats are down, so you should be able to blow through it or hear air going through it. And when you tilt the carburetor to simulate the float rising, it should shut off. Now, I don't know how successful this is going to be with the fuel filter on it, but let's get this in me gob. Right, so you can probably hear this. Are you ready? I'm probably going to tilt the carb the wrong way as well. Yeah, it did. Jolly good. So the air noise you can hear is actually it coming out the vent overflow, which is perfectly correct, and then it stopped. So the vent overflow goes over the top of the carbs, the fuel line goes under the bottom, and then comes up to the fuel pipe. I may have to play about with the positioning of the fuel filter. There ain't a lot of room, but basically now I've got a little bit more length because I've got the filter in. I could probably get the fuel pipe actually under here and up, because the tap's roughly there. So as long as the obviously it's a plastic fuel filter, I don't want it too close to the engine. I might not have a choice in the matter, but we'll see. And yes, we've got to make sure we put the brake line back under there as well. There we go. Right, I'll put them back on then. Yes, Jim, get on with it. So what I do, I attach and detach the choke when I've pulled the carbs off. It's a 12mm, but it's almost impossible to get at when the carbs are in position to get a spanner on. So I do it when it's off, and it doesn't need to be super tight because it's only plastic, so it's just easy. And then the throttle linkage goes on there, which is really easy. And then it's just a case of putting the subframe back on. But might have to adjust the suspension before I bugger about with anything else. It's a bit soft with the pilly. Alright, Solo. So I'm just going to see if I can just whack that round a bit. Well, everything's back together, but for some obscure reason it decided to be an utter bastard when being put back together. The rear boots wouldn't go on the carbs. You're supposed to be able to lift that subframe, bolt everything in, get the boots on the carbs by yourself. Uncle Barnyard assisted. And then the boots wouldn't seat, so basically you just run a screwdriver around the outside of them, and that pops them into place. And then I've put a new fuel line in, and a filter. I'm not sure about the routing yet. It was almost impossible to route it without getting a kink in the line. So it's running, it's flowing fuel okay, so we'll just have to see. And on that note, I'm going for a poo. Hello folks. Well, as Physical Jim said at the beginning of the video, I have been doing some fairing repairs.
This is just a little example of what I'm messing around with. I've got a new soldering iron with the proper shoe on the end, and it comes with some gauze and plastic rods, etc. It's a good bit of kit. I've done sealed up some quite extensive cracks on the ZZR nose cone, and I've just been putting together this bit for Steve. Somebody's really mackled it, so I've melted some gauze in the back. The idea is get some plastic filler and fill this in, because somebody's wallowed out the hole to fit an incorrect mirror, basically. So the idea is get some gauze behind it. I've melted the gauze in, and it looks a bit messy because somebody's tried to sandwich a bit of plastic on the back, which isn't the standard fairing plastic, but it can all be tidied up. So the idea is get some plastic body filler, fill this in, and we'll be able to re-drill the hole, and it can all be painted and all that lot. We'll just see how we get on, but I will show you what I've done to the ZZR. These are the bits that have actually fell off the ZZR fairing, but I have a plan for that. I have a cunning plan. Basically, I shall explain when I show you the fairing. So let's go into the shed of wonder. Yes, here we are. I'm in a bit of a mess at the minute. Nothing new there, because I've been moving shit about, etc. But I'm sure I stated at the beginning of the video, Z now runs, and I fit a brand new petrol cap to it this morning at 6:30, because, as you know, I had the old, or you probably don't know, I had the old fuel cap apart, because there was a vacuum being created in the tank, and that's usually the vent in the cap is blocked, and I cleaned it out and all that lot, and it's still doing it. So sometimes there is a diaphragm in the cap, and this does fail with age. You can't get the diaphragm separately, so I just got another cap, bolted it on, and it was fine. Anyway, this is the state of the ZZR fairing. Yes, that looks like a nasty crack, but it is actually pretty solid behind it. I've melted the gauze in behind, but I have a plan. When it's fitted to the bike and it's all secure, because obviously the screen helps secure the fairing, make it stable and all this lot. I've melted gauze all behind here and what have you. I'm not interested in cosmetics, as long as structurally it's alright. But I've got an idea. I've still got some offcuts of the ZX10 panels and what have you, and what I might do is actually just Dremel this out in a straight line and then infill a bit of the old ZX10 fairing. But we'll see how we get on. I shall probably test fit it and everything first. Anyway, I'm going to take you to the front of the motorcycle, and breathe in, you fat bastard. Let go now. Right, that's the old fuel cap, and the new fuel cap comes with a new rubber gasket and everything, so we'll just put that in the spares department. And I'm going to show you the front of the ZZR for our American cousins. Actually, I do believe they were called ZXs in America. Right, I've got, oh look, here's one we prepared earlier, but we didn't. You can probably see I fitted a connector to the indicator. I mean, it is an abortion of crimp locks and everything. Eventually, when I know the bike's sound and it's running alright, I will have this front part of the loom off or exposed, because it's a lot of jiggery buggery. I mean, there's two wires here for the horn that are going to get trapped by the stop locks. It all needs sorting out. It's got this fucking hideous, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to swear, cunt, hideous stick-on Kevlar. It's really thick stuff, look. I don't know where you would have got it. It's like a proper good art. It's not vinyl, it's way too thick. But it reinforces my suspicion that this was Street Fightered. I've just temporarily suspended the air induction hoses up here just to stop these sagging. I've got the proper snouts. Yes, snouts. And these are the tubes I was on about in an earlier video. This tube here basically goes there, up there, and it actually goes to the carburettor, and it pressurises the float bowls in the carburettor. Meanwhile, the rest of the air, goes through the ducting. There's a plenum chamber, and then into the airbox either side. So that works pretty much like I would say a standard airbox, but you do have genuine ram air with one of these. Oh, I think I need a trump. Ooh, that's not far off a shite. Anyway, I've got a replacement headlight connector, which I got from the Jungle website, but the spade connectors on it are fucking massive. I mean, look, I don't know. They look massive, but they might actually just slot into that wiring. Oh, they might do. But I didn't like the idea of having to remove the bulb to take the fairing off when I could just unplug it. So I will have a little play with that, but what I'll probably end up doing is probably cutting this bit of the loom back a little bit and patching that in. But if these spades actually fit those connectors, I'll probably just plug them in and cover them in heat shrink. I just want to know if everything works at the moment. I haven't got a side light circuit. It's whoever's done the loom has either chopped it out or they've hidden it, and I can't find a feed for it anywhere at the moment. So yeah, that's pretty much where we're at with the Z. But she's starting up and she's running nice. I've also those aborted, if any of you saw the picture on Facebook and what have you, about how they'd secured the fairing panels, they'd basically put the screws in with it almost looked like a raw plug covered in tape behind it to secure it. I put the proper well nuts in. Oh, one's fell out, I'll have to get that one. Put the well nuts in, and I've experimented with some fancy side fasteners. This band actually attaches to the sides, and there's a little popping grommet at the front. That's got to come back up again for the main fairing to be fitted. So I'm going to bugger around with the headlight some point at the weekend, get it fitted, get some fuel oleum in the tank. I completely drained the tank. It's pretty clean actually. It's pretty clean. And then get it running off its own tank, and then just run it up to temp a few times. I've changed the oil and what have you, and I now want to put that ear on the fairing for Charlie, and somebody stuck some plastic behind this, look, and it's the incorrect type of plastic. They've literally just glued it on. Shite. I will gauze that. I'll clean the old araldite off and shit like that, and I'll gauze it. I may even get a little alley strip or something like that and pop rivet it on for extra strengthage. But the gauze seems to do a good job, and I've got some extremely strong super glue at the minute. It's really good. But again, this needs a new screen. The screen is part of the structural integrity of the bearing. I have informed Uncle Steve of all this, and yeah, he's good with it. So we'll just see. It'll be nice to get the bodywork fitted on and make sure it's all square and what have you, and then literally whop some compressed dinosaur in it and give it a run up, get it up to temp, drop the oil and filter, and then she's about ready for Uncle Steve to do whatever he wishes with it, and I think he'll have some good fun with this. Yeah, so yes, this is I'm a bit cramped at the minute. I like to keep the Aprilia inside. I can get Phyllis across the back as well when I'm a bit more organised. See, the Aprilia is a bit further back than what it should be. But yes, I've got my wiring gubbins out and all this lot. The goal of any repair that I do is basically make it functional. I don't care about making it look good. It's got to earn its keep at the end of the day. So that's where we are. So hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you for continuing to liking, sharing, subscribing, etc. And we're planning to do probably some ride reviews of friends' bikes, etc. When the weather gets a bit better. and some more riding vlogs and rants, perhaps. There's always something to rant about, ladies and gentlemen. Even if you're in a good mood, you can still find something to rant about. But did I tell you about the Aprilia? It's had all new bearings. It's had brake rebuilds, fork seals. That was an easier job than what I thought. That's cursed it. So that's... It's alright actually, I'm enjoying it. It's a totally different riding experience to any other bike I've ever had, because this is the first big single I've owned. I've ridden big singles quite a lot, but they were always not my bike, basically. So you can't really gel with them. But the Aprilia, it's very, very comfortable. It's super comfortable. I mean, I know the ZZRs are comfortable. But yeah, the Aprilia is very, very comfortable. And it's nice, but I'm still sort of learning it. I'm still in the wrong gear everywhere and what have you. Generally, you need to be a gear lower than you would be in an inline 4. I mean, the ZZR, it's the same as any other inline 4. It'll probably at 30 mile an hour you could be in 6th gear and it will still pull. So anyway, that's where we are. And these are the wrong mirrors. Somebody bought replica NC30 mirrors, and the mirror gaps are too narrow. I think they're about 30mm on this. NC24 is 40mm. So I'm going to occupy myself at some point on the internety web, because you could get good quality replica mirrors at some point. When I had my NC24s, the aftermarket spares weren't too good. Look at this table of shit. Listen, Einstein's desk was messy.